Hello everybody, and today we're back into some more Loomian Legacy. But we're doing another Loomian Legacy tier list, and we're doing the Loomian Legacy types. So, we're going to be ranking every typing in the game, from Typeless, Fire, Water, Plant, Light, Dark, Ice, Electric, Air, Bug, Earth, Toxic, Metal, Ancient, Spirit, Brawler, and Mine. So, the criteria between these typings is that there are two basic criteria. How effective is it as an offensive typing, and how effective is it on the defensive side? If they're good on both sides, they're going to tend to be ranked higher on the list. So, knowing that, let's get into this. So let's start with the Typeless. So, the Typeless typing, it kind of stinks in this game. So, because how this game is that if you're considered typeless, if your Loomian is considered typeless, you're not going to have any other typing in the game, which sounds really rough when you're a typeless type Loomian. Plus, on the offensively, you can't hit anything super effectively. So, you're already pretty rough offensively, considering that there are a few typings such as Ice, Metal, and I think even Spirit that can resist. So, that's already not good on the offensive side. It's even worse than the defensive side, though. Even though it's not necessarily weak to anything, it's still weak to Brawler and Mine. Which, Brawler is a very common offensive typing, and a lot of Loomians have a Brawler move. It's like a coverage move. And it doesn't resist anything. It has no immunities. And it's just a really bad typing to have overall. You could get an occasional coverage move on a Typeless type Loomian, but it's just not. Typeless type is just not good whatsoever. Like, the Typeless typing overall is just not good. Like, it's probably the worst in the game, but we're going to judge it at the end. But Typeless, we're going to put it in the bad tier. It makes sense. I mean, it is really bad. It cannot hit anything super effectively, and it doesn't resist anything. I think it's worth being in the bad tier. So yeah, Typeless. We're already not off to a good start. But let's get to another typing. Fire. I love the fire typing. The fire typing is so good offensively. It can hit so many typings. It can hit plant, it can hit dark, it can hit ice, and it can hit metal. And also, any fire type can actually get rid of icicle traps, which is a nice bonus. If there's any icicle traps placed on the field, you can get rid of them if you're a fire typing, which is just awesome. Offensively, it's really good. It has four things that can hit super effective and four resistances, which honestly most Loomians that counter fire types are the fire types themselves. So yeah, you got to beat fire with fire if you want to counter a fire type apparently. But it's probably even better defensively. The fire type defensively is so good. The fire type only has three weaknesses: water, air, and earth. Those are the only three weaknesses that fire is weak to defensively. When it resists fire, plant, ice, and bug. So fire is amazing typing wise. Offensively, it's good. Defensively, it's good. And honestly, I would probably put it in high good tier, but that extra bonus in getting rid of icicle traps, that extra bonus puts it in the great tier. The fire typing is an amazing typing, and if your Loomian has that typing, it's amazing. And plus, another bonus with the fire typing is that it counteracts really well with any other typing in the game. So it's just amazing to have, especially in dual typing situations. Now we're going to get to the water typing. And the water typing is very interesting. And that's because, yeah, the water typing, I think, is a mixed bag for me. Offensively, I don't think I don't think the water typing is the best. It can hit three things super effectively, and has three things that resist. It's super effective against fire, electric, and earth. Which, yes, it's very good in certain situations, but water types resist water types. And there are a lot of water types in the game. So, yeah, the water moves offensively are probably not the best. Also, ancient types are quite common. Ancient also resists water. So honestly, if I would say offensive typing, water would be like average. Defensively, though, completely different story. It resists fire and it resists water while also resisting ice and it resists metal. It has four resistances while only being weak to plant, electric, and toxic, which is just awesome defensively. The toxic weakness does suck, but all the other ones like plants and electric can be played around, which is just awesome as a defensive typing. It's a really good defensive typing. It's average offensively. So if I were to give a ranking to water, I would probably give it a good. I think the water typing is a good type overall. And I think it's solid with other types, but I don't think it's the best as a dual typing compared to the other types. But I think overall, the water typing overall is good. I like it. Now let's get to the plant typing. And the plant typing sucks offensively. It can't hit anything offensively. The only things it can hit offensively is water and earth. That's it. That's all that plant can hit. That's all that plants can hit. It's rubbish. Probably one of the worst offensive typings in the game. And its defensive typing is not much better, honestly. It does have a lot of resistances. It resists water, it resists plant. It also resists electric and earth, which is nice. But it's just not the same. It's like it doesn't work. It has a lot of weaknesses too, like fire. Being weak to fire just hurts a lot. And the biggest kick in the face, weak to dark. Dark is one of the most common offensive typings in the game, and there are so many coverage moves that have dark. So defensively, it is bad as well. The only saving grace plant type has is that it's immune to light types. That is its only saving grace. Having that immunity to light type saves it from being in the bad tier. And instead, it goes in the meh tier. But boy, it was really, really, really close into being in the bad tier with Typeless. So yeah, the plant typing is not good whatsoever. And now let's get to the light typing. So, I'm kind of conflicted with the light typing. Because just like the plant typing, light is pretty rough offensively. It can't hit other light types. It can't hit plant types. And it can't hit mine types. So, there are a lot of typings this thing can't hit. It can hit dark types. It's super effective against dark. And it is super effective against ancient and spirit, which actually, ancient and spirit are actually two common typings you'll see with a lot of teams. So, honestly, despite a lot of people saying that light might have the worst offense in terms of types, I would probably have to say average in terms of the offensive typing. Yes, the immunity to plants suck offensively, but honestly, it actually is alright offensively, considering it can hit ancient and it can hit dark. So, yeah, it actually hits a lot of common Loomian typings. But how about its defense? How good is it defensively? It's amazing defensively. The light type is so good defensively. It's weak to dark, which that does suck. I use the same complaint with plant types. But despite being weak to dark, it is only weak to one other typing and it's metal. It has 2 weaknesses while having 3 resist and an immunity. It resists fire, it resists other light types, and it resists ancient. It resists ancient while resisting fire. That's amazing. And even better, it is immune to spirit, meaning that you cannot hit anything with Shadow Sprint. This is a really cool, this might be one of the best typings to have with another type. You can have this with like water and light, light and dark, and you can make so many good combinations of like light and air. You can combine light with a lot of other typings, and it can be really powerful. Probably the best with another typing. If I were to give the light typing overall, I was debating between high good or low great. But I would have to put it in the great tier. Yes, I'm serious. I did not think I was going to put the light type in the great tier, but its defensive typing is so good, and its offensive typing is honestly really over-exaggerated nowadays. Is it the best? Absolutely not. There are a lot better offensive typings, but it is better than what people make it out to be, and its defensive typing is amazing. I think it goes in the great tier. But now, let's go to the dark typing. I don't think I have to explain about the dark typing so much. The dark type can hit so many types. It can hit plant, light, and mine, which even though they're not really common typings, the dark type there's just so many moves that dark types have, which makes it really good. And its resistances really aren't the best. Spirit and Bug, they're too common resist. But the other dark types. So it doesn't really... So offensively, despite being 3-3, it does actually hit a lot of good typings. That light typing, which I said, a really good defensive typing. You want to hit that. You could also hit the plant typings, which there are a lot of teams that use defensive plants, so you got to be careful with that. And there's also the mine typing, which there are a lot of great mine types in the game. So dark offensively is awesome. It's also pretty average defensively. It gets hit by fire, and it gets hit by light. And bug type. So its defensive typing isn't the best, but it does resist mine, resist dark, and resist spirit. So it does work out. But despite that, I'm putting it in the great tier. Its offensive typing is one of the best in the game, so I think I have to put it up there despite its average defensive typing. So yeah, we're putting that in the great tier. Now we're going to go with the ice. Ice is interesting because I'm really conflicted ice offensively because it can hit 4 things super effectively, but it has a whopping 5 resist. And those resists are really common. Fire and water. 2 really common resistances that can really knock it out. Although I know there is a move called Beat Freeze that can hit water types. I do know that. But I'm talking about the typing itself. And it just doesn't... If there's 2 common resistances, it doesn't make it a good offensive type. It also can't hit other ice types. It can't hit metal, and it can't hit Brawler. Yeah, offensively, it's really rough. It does hit plant types, though, and it does hit 3 really tough typings. It does hit air, bug, and earth. So, it does have its pros, but a lot of cons. Defensively, it's the same way. I mean, really common weakness to fire. That really hurts. Metal and Brawler, also really common weaknesses. Although it does have some good resists. It resists Typeless and air, which is really good. And it resists other ice types. So honestly, if I were to give an ice typing, I think the ice typing is the definition of average. It has a lot of potential, but a lot of flaws. So I think that is the perfect place for ice to be. Now we're going to go to electric. How do I feel like about electric? So electric can't hit earth types. Electric can't hit earth types, which is a flaw. I will not deny that. But it does hit water types, and it does hit air types, which gives it a really big advantage. It also hits metal types. So it does hit a lot of good typings that have a lot of the most threatening Loomians. I mean, there's a lot of water types and a lot of metal types right now. And its resistances, not a lot of people use a plant type. Electric types against electric types just don't go so hot. And then Spirit and Ancient, despite those types sucking, it's not the worst thing in the world when you can hit water. When you can hit water and metal, it's just huge offensively. I would say its offensive typing is good, but defensively, how do I feel about it defensively? It resists metal, which is awesome. That's an awesome resist to have. It resists air and electric, but it is weak to water and earth. But that is actually it. Earth and water types are the only things that can hit it defensively. So, it's actually a pretty good defensive typing. If you have like something that can combine the typings like electric and air, or like electric and like ancient, you can actually have a really good dual typing with electric. So honestly, I'll put electric in the high good tier. It's really, really good overall. And probably one of the most balanced types in the game. So, now let's head to the air type. The air type is interesting. It has 3 things that can hit super effectively and 3 things that it resists. So, the air type can hit fire. Yes, that air type can hit fire types. That's huge offensively. That's already a great start. It can hit bug type. Again, another great, that adds on even more. And to add it all up, they hit brawler types. Those are the 3 typings it can hit, and that's huge for the air typing. That gives the air typing a huge advantage. It can't hit ice types, though, and it can't hit electric types. So we gotta be careful about that. It also can't hit metal types, but a lot of air types do have coverage moves for metal types, so that one doesn't matter that much. Now, defensively, air types have it weird defensively, because they have a lot of just 0. So, like, they have 2 weaknesses and 2 resistances. So, they resist bug, and they resist brawler. But they're weak to ice and electric. So, defensively, I would say they're average. If that doesn't count the full immunity to earth. Now, this will change in the next few days, I think. I think in the next few days, they're going to be adding the Levitate update. Which, once the Levitate update comes out, it will make it so air types are resisted to earth instead of actually immune. But even then, that would still give it 3 resists. And even then, resistant to earth is really huge for an air typing. So, and a lot of them are in the air anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Honestly, I'm thinking about putting the air type in the great tier. Really good offensive typing and solid defensive typing. But I don't think it's better than fire, light, and dark. So, I'm going to put it in the good tier. I think it's around the same tier as electric. Let's talk about the bug type next. This one is interesting. Bug is horrible offensively. I mean, it's horrible offensively. It can hit plants and darts, and it can hit mine. Alright, that's fine. Can't hit fire, can't hit air, can't hit other bugs, can't hit metal, and can't hit brawlers. It's horrible offensively. And defensively, it's alright defensively. I mean, it resists plant, it resists dark, it resists bug, and it resists earth, which is awesome. And it's only weak to brawler, ice, and air. Which, looking at the surface, that is actually alright defensively. It's a good type defensively. If it was like that, I would actually put the bug in the average tier. But it's weak to ice. And you all know what that means. Yep, they're weak to icicle traps. And I guess that's another thing with the air types. The air types are also weak to icicle traps as well. It's another reason why they're in the good and not in the great. But back to bugs. They're weak to icicle traps. They drop a tier, unfortunately. And because in the great game, a lot of people use icicle traps. And there are a lot of moves that the air types have, like Gust, that can actually get rid. Bug types don't have that. They're going in the meh tier. Honestly, they could even be in the bad tier, honestly. But it does get saved by the fact that it does have a lot of resistances. So, it's going in the meh tier. Now let's talk about the Earth typing. Earth is amazing offensively. Like, it can't hit air types, and it won't hit levitate. So it will get nerfed. But it hits fire types, it hits electric types, it hits toxic types, and it hits metal types. Awesome. If it was right now, the Earth typing offensively is great. Once the levitate update comes out, I would say it's good. That's what I think. Defensively, the Earth typing is weird. It actually has more weaknesses than it does resistance and immunities. But if we look at these weaknesses, water and plant and ice, they're weak to traps again, fellas. They are weak to traps. But they are immune to electric, which makes it really good when combined with another defensive typing. So, like, combining Earth with another typing, it can be rather dangerous. And it also resists toxic, but that one isn't the best. But that immunity to electric does save the Earth type defensively. It would put it average. So with the great, I would probably put Earth in the great tier just by its offensive capabilities, but I'm putting Earth in the good tier. And there's two reasons why I'm putting the Earth typing in the good tier. One, it's weak to icicle traps, and also has, and despite not many offensive plant types currently, water is a common typing, and icicle traps exist. So it does make it rough defensively at times. And two, its offensive typing is going to be nerfed once levitate comes. So it's going to be in the good tier. It's still a good typing, of course, but it's going to be nerfed. It's not in the great tier, especially once levitate comes out. Now, toxic. Let's talk about the toxic typing. It's actually awesome offensively. It hits water types, it hits plant types, and it hits brawler types. Despite the plant typing not being the best offensively, defensively it's actually above average. And there are a lot of good Loomians that use the plant typing defensively. That makes toxic really good offensively. When the moves that it resists is Earth, other toxic types, and Spirit. Which, none of those are that common other than Spirit. Which makes it really good offensively. I would say good or greatish offensively. But it's even better defensively. It's even better defensively. Because, yeah, the toxic typing defensively is only weak to Earth and Mind. You heard that correctly. It's only weak to two typings. And it does have three resistances. One of them's being toxic, which is a great offensive typing, so it's good being resistant to toxic. And the other two typings, plant, which, isn't the best, but it resists brawler. And guess who are some of the most dangerous Loomians in the game currently? Brawler typings. Yes, I said it. The toxic typing is amazing. It's amazing offensively and defensively. They're being in the great tier. The toxic typing is so good. Like, just talk about Venolin. Probably the best ranged tank in the game. I think Venolin just proves how good the toxic typing is. And yeah, the toxic typing offensively is just so good. Plus, You can spread poison. You can get rid of poison barbs. You can place poison barbs. It's amazing. I love the toxic typing. It's definitely one of the best in the game. Metal is interesting. Metal is resistant to 4 typings offensively. It can't hit fire, it can't hit water, it can't hit electric, and it can't hit metal. But it can hit light, ice, and ancient. The only thing that makes it worthwhile offensively, to hit ancient. That puts it meh. It is good to hit ancient types, of course, but it can't hit anything else really. But defensively, it's interesting. Has a lot of weaknesses. Weak to fire, which sucks. Weak to electric, which sucks. Weak to earth, and weak to brawler. But it does have a lot, and I mean a lot, of resistances. A lot of them being very good resistances too. I mean, it resists ice, it resists air, it resists bug, it resists metal, it resists ancient, and it resists mine, while also resisting typeless. So yeah, you heard that correctly. It has a whopping 7 resistances. Despite being a below average offensive type, it's really solid defensively. I think it's barely put in the good tier. Almost average, but having 7 resistances is just insane, especially when dueled around with other typings. So yeah. Now let's go with the ancient typing. Oh my goodness. The ancient typing might be one of the best in the entire game. Let's look at what it does offensively first. It hits ancient and spirit, which isn't the best offensively. Like, it hits other ancient types in spirit, which is awesome. And it resists metal and light. But it can hit everything else normal, which makes it huge. Despite not hitting many things super effectively, the stuff that it can hit super effective is big. And also, just hitting something neutrally is really huge. But if it's defensive typing, it steals the show. Ancient is one of the best defensive typings. I mean, it resists fire, water, plant. I think it even resists electric and spirit. That's 5 resistances compared to only 3 weaknesses. And the 3 weaknesses, the only common typings is ancient and metal. Light, it's not even a very common offensive typing. So, especially with its bad reputation. Ancient is amazing, especially when dueled with other Loomians. Some of the best Loomians in the game are ancient types. It's so good when combined with another typing. It has a great offensive, I would say probably good or great offensive typing, and an amazing defensive typing. It's no doubt easily into the great tier. There is no doubt about that. Now, let's go to the spirit typing. And the spirit typing is very, 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 very interesting. It's very, very interesting indeed. It hits spirit, brawler, and mine. But that's it. But it does only have 3 weaknesses. It can't hit dark. It also can't hit ancient. And its immunity to light, which the immunity to light is a bummer. Huge bummer offensively. But it does hit everything else, which does make it an average offensive typing. What is it defensively, though? Well, spirit is weak to light, weak to ancient, and weak to spirit. So, it has 3 weaknesses, but just like the ancient typing, its resistances steal the show. It resists dark, what else does it resist? It also resists electric, it resists toxic, and resists typeless. And it's immune to brawler. Its defensive typing steals the show. And honestly, that defensive typing might just put it in the great tier. I'm debating between whether to put it here or there. But I think it's just barely a step below. Very close, but barely a step below. Now let's get to the Brawler typing. The Brawler typing is huge. It is a very interesting typing. It hits ice, it hits bugs, and it hits Typeless. So yeah, it already seems alright. It also hits metal, which is awesome. But I would say it's average offensively. Air types, toxic types, and mine types do resist, while the immunity to spirit kind of makes it a bummer offensively. As an average offensive typing, I would say. Defensively, it also kind of bums down a bit too, and only has two resistances. Ice and bug. Although two of those are actually very nice resistances to have, it is weak to air, weak to toxic, weak to spirit, and weak to mind. Brawler, I would probably put into the average tier. It can hit stuff really well, but it has a lot of weaknesses that can kind of bring the class down. Now, let's go to the mind typing. So, the mind. Alright then. So, offensively, they can hit Toxic, Brawler, and Typeless. There are not many Typeless Loomians, first of all. Second of all, not many Brawler type Loomians in the game. And also, plus there's this little thing called Mutagon that is neutral to it. And three, and the thing that's even worse, there are not many toxic types in the game. So, it's probably the most pathetic offensive typing in the game. It can't hit dark types, it can't hit metal types, and it can't hit other mine types. Which is not horrible offensively, but it's just meh. It just doesn't build up. The mine typing offensively is just not good. And then if we go to it defensively, it might be even worse. It resists other mine types, but mine types have a lot of coverage moves that can hit you. So it just doesn't work. It resists Brawler, which is nice. And it resists Light. That's it. Weak to dark. It's another one of those classes weak to dark, ladies and gentlemen. And it also is weak to bug, and another very tough typing to deal with. And even worse, it's weak to spirit. It makes it bad. The mind typing is really bad. And it's also the worst typing to combine with other typings. It just, when combined with other typings, just makes the typings worst most of the time. The only combination, like, you can combine mind and plant, and it's horrible. You can combine spirit and mind, and that's horrible. You can combine Brawler and mind, and oh wait, okay, that one actually worked out. But other than Brawler and mind, nothing else has worked out with mind. So we're going to put that in the bad tier. Mind is going in the bad tier. You do not want this typing on your Loomian. It needs a buff somewhere. So that is it. That is all the typings in the game. So now we gotta decide on which ones in the great tier are the best typing and which ones in the bad tier are the worst typing. So if I were to give my top 3 in the great, it would be Fire, Toxic, and Ancient. As much as I love Light and Dark, they kind of counteract each other. Light doesn't hit the best offensively, and Dark doesn't tank defensively. So the best typing in the game, in my opinion, would have to be the Ancient typing. So yeah, the Ancient typing is the best typing in the game. It's really good offensively, despite not hitting many things super effective. It doesn't have many things that resist it neither. And the things that it can hit super effectively are really common, which is just amazing. But it's a star, though, defensively, and one of the best when combined with other typings. The Ancient typing is probably the best typing in the game. It is very close, though, with Toxic and Fire. It is close, but Ancient is the best typing in the game. Now, What is the worst typing in the game? Typeless, for not being able to hit anything super effectively, or mine, for being one of the worst dual typings ever. And the worst typing in the game is, of course, it's Typeless. I don't think there's any competition here that Typeless is the worst typing in the game. I mean, it has nothing that it can hit super effectively. And it has nothing that can make it resist. But yet it's weak to moves and there's stuff that resists it. And when you have Typeless, you cannot combine any other typing. So yeah, the Typeless type is the worst in the entire game. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list. I needed to do this differently because I basically did this in Office Word, and the reason is why is because there are no Loomian Legacy tier lists with the typings, so I needed to make my own. But either way, I still hope y'all guys enjoyed this video. What are y'all opinions? What do y'all think is the best typing in the game? And what do y'all think is the worst typing in the game? But yeah, I hope y'all guys enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!